Your normal may not be my normal because some things for you that is normal is not normal for me. You understand? Welcome back to our channel and thank you once again for joining us in this another day in the life of living on Autistic Edge. I am Terry and Elaine, proud autism mom, and we are here to share with you tips and tricks of how we navigate through our journey right here on Autistic Edge. Now, April, as you know, is our Autism Awareness Month, and we are here to talk nothing but autism. We want to share with you some of the areas of autism and for help to spread the awareness and for persons to understand what's happening right here on the spectrum. Now, today we want to talk to you about some do's and don'ts of autism and when we talk autism language. Now, things and times have developed, and what we find is that from day to day, as persons learn and get aware and understand autism, then we look at how we refer to them, the correct terminologies that are being used, and in speaking with them and in speaking about them. All right, now you know, as usual, persons, once they see someone on the spectrum and they do not understand the condition, they will use different names to describe them. So we just want to talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts. Things you may want to stay away from when you are interacting with children on the spectrum. Don't say that the child suffers from autism, right? What you can say instead is that the child is on the autism spectrum. Okay, and when you understand the spectrum, because as in our previous video we talk about how autism affects each individual. So when you say somebody suffers from autism, you may be looking at somebody who is just mild and on top of their A game, and you don't understand the situation, right? So say the child is on the autism spectrum. Don't use term like high functioning. I mean, really, what is high functioning? All right, when you say that somebody is high functioning, you may see a 2-year-old child having a temper tantrum and you might think the child is high functioning. But what do you talk about? What is really high functioning? When a person on the spectrum is diagnosed, they are diagnosed according to levels. Okay, so what you'll find is that the levels on the spectrum is either they are mild, they are moderate, you're mild to moderate, you have severe, or you may find that they are somewhere between moderate and severe. So you refer to the child on the spectrum by their levels. And if you're not sure, it's okay to ask questions. You know, if the child is on the spectrum and what level on the spectrum are they? Now, that is the appropriate way to refer to children on the spectrum. Now, don't refer to them as normal or disabled. Your normal may not be my normal because some things for you that is normal is not normal for me. You understand? So when you say something is somebody is normal, what is normal? My way of life in autism is normal. What is normal for you, right? Something happening by your house might be the norm. No, they're not really disabled. For autism children, they have a different ability. That's what it is. And the challenge is, as we indicate in our previous video, it can range from mild to severe, mild, moderate, severe. All right. So what we normally refer to these children as, they are neurotypical or neurodivergent. Okay. So quote unquote, where you'd say normal, they're neurotypical. Quote unquote, where you'd want to say disabled, they're not disabled, they are neurodivergent. So you see, we are learning the autism language. That is what autism awareness is about, helping you to understand, to learn the language so you can speak effectively about the language of autism. When referring to someone on the spectrum, don't use sarcasm. We talk about this in our previous video when we look at the communication aspect of persons on the spectrum. They don't understand sarcasm. They see things for what it is. They are very real in their world. If it is black, they understand it as black. If it is white, they understand it as white. Don't mix it. Don't say something that it gives a different meaning. What we need to do instead is make sure that we speak clearly and we are concise in our language. Be very straightforward. Don't focus on the child weakness. Before we learned all that we knew now about autism, we get up every day and guess what? We talk about what the child is not able to do and what the child is not able to do and what the child is not able to do. When you go to your assessment session, you and your assessor can talk about all the little different things, and then you're gonna put plans in place as to what is it that you need to be done, right? But rather than focus on the child's weakness, what you should do instead is focus on the child's strength. And again, in our previous video, we talk about the fact that they have different skills. Most times they are good at something, and we need to find out what that something is, and we need to focus on that area. Focus on their strength so that you can get the best out of this child. Don't get up every day and think about the child can this, the child can that. No, I always tell persons that on the spectrum, we don't celebrate milestones. We celebrate inch stones. Our son is on the severe end of the spectrum, and progress for us are very, very slow. It takes us years to get to some of the developments that you are now seeing where Alexavier is concerned. Communication, speech. In getting out speech, believe you me, it takes years to get us where we are now with Alexavier saying nothing at all, and now he's able to tell you when he wants to use the bathroom. Now that is superb. And I know a lot of parents out there are still struggling with this potty training issue and would want to know, to just want to get up one day and hear when their child is going to say, I want to use the bathroom. But if you keep focusing on what the child not able to do, then you won't get anywhere. We need to look at what is the child's strength, and we are going to build activities and intervention strategies around their strength, and then we are going to move that child along inch by inch, day by day. And don't be worried, one of the day you might be celebrating milestone. All right, our milestones, it take a long while. It's a few miles before we get to some of these milestones. But focus on the strength. Try to stay positive. If you're around the child, try to stay positive. If it is your child, remain positive despite the challenges. There are times when we find that you see a child and the child is on the spectrum, and you will hear persons say, relate to other persons that they have known or seen on the spectrum, and they will come and they say, listen, you can't take that bush here because I know somebody who was on the spectrum and he have a son, and he go talk and him did do this and this, and they start reel out all the improvements that the child has done. Now, here's what I want to advise us, and we need to be very careful of. When it comes to the autism spectrum, it's not a one size fits all. Not everyone on the spectrum are alike. Not everyone on the spectrum display the similar characteristic. We refer to it as a spectrum because it affects each individual differently. Now, what we should do instead is to appreciate and try to understand and respect the differences between each person. You have to understand and appreciate the difference in their communication style, difference in their behavioral style. And remember, this is not something that they do by themselves. This is something that, it's birth. It's something that come, whether it's an environmental, and there is a controversy as to whether or not it's caused by the vaccine or it caused by the genes. Now, if you do not have sufficient evidence, if you do not have evidence base as to where this is coming from. Avoid discussing this particular, because guess what, a person on the spectrum, they're already having their fair share of challenges by going through this. We don't need persons to come now and lecture the root, especially when you really not have no evidence, because guess what, it's overbearing hearing you talking about say the vaccine cause, yeah, say the whatever, because guess what, and some persons will tell you, that as is the age, because there are some persons, why them do for them assessment, and trust me, them come up with for them things as to where them think cause autism. But here what, outside of having evidence base, then it is a myth. Understand that. If you don't have an evidence to support what you're doing, then it becomes a myth. All right. So accept, you want to be positive around these persons. Don't drown them in their already challenging life. Don't drown them with your myth and your superstitions and what is it. Don't do that. Respect the difference, try to support them, and that is why we are here spreading awareness in terms of helping you understand what you should not do and the areas that you should do. All right, so I'm not going to tell you again what you should not do. Let me summarize what you should do. So stick to what you should do. All right, refer to the child as being on the autism spectrum. Refer to their levels, whether it is mild, moderate, severe, or that. Use terms like neurotypical or neurodivergent when you are referring to these children. Remember, speak clear, concise language. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Accentuate the child's strengths and appreciate the differences. I tell you something, in the banking system, when the bank is teaching you how to identify what is counterfeit money, they don't normally teach you the counterfeit, because counterfeit comes in varying ways. You can use different negative aspects of counterfeit in order to make the money counterfeit. But what the bank really and truly does is help you to identify, help their staff to identify what the real money is. If you know all the elements of real money, then the moment you see a counterfeit, you'll be able to identify, say, that not real. All right. So when I'm saying that, I just want you to understand when I say we don't want to talk too much about the don'ts or the negative of autism. What we want you to do is to focus on the good, focus on the positives of autism. And that will help you, it will help me, and it will help the individual to have a better quality of life. Thank you once again for joining us in this another day in the life of living on Autistic Edge. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and make sure you subscribe so the next time we put out another content, you will be notified.